The shadows of Windsor have revealed a new successor. While the world looked away, James Alexander stepped into the light, surpassing Harry and standing firm.
What if the royal family's biggest secret wasn't some messy scandal, but a quiet rise nobody saw coming? While everyone stayed locked in on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle making headlines, something way bigger was unfolding right in front of everyone, and barely anyone caught it. On Easter Sunday in 2026, inside St. George's Chapel, one young royal stepped in, and the whole energy shifted instantly. His name? James Mountbatten Windsor. And in that single moment, he didn't just show up. He made a statement. Standing near Prince William, he gave off a presence that had people whispering, "This might be the future right here." And trust this story, it's only getting started. So who exactly is James Alexander, the royal nobody was paying attention to? For years, he's been right there, but hidden in plain sight. Not by accident either. It was planned that way from the beginning. James Alexander Philip Theo Mountbatten Windsor, officially the Earl of Wessex, was born on December 17, 2007 in Surrey. He's the youngest grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. And here's something that is different. He was reportedly one of the Queen's absolute favorites, second only to his sister, Lady Louise Windsor. That alone says a lot. Even when the public barely knew his name, inside those palace walls, he mattered way more than people realized. Now look at his connections. James is the nephew of King Charles III and cousin to some of the most recognized royals alive. We're talking Prince William, Prince Harry, Princess Beatrice, Princess Eugenie, Zara Tindall, and Peter Phillips. This isn't some distant royal. He's right in the center of it all. But here's where it gets interesting. For years, he was basically invisible. No flashy headlines, no social media drama, no red carpet lifestyle. Instead, he was living what looked like a regular teenage life in Surrey, going to school, staying low, and keeping it quiet. That wasn't random either. His parents, Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, made a very deliberate choice. They didn't want their kids growing up trapped in royal pressure. Sophie even explained it clearly, saying, "We try to bring them up with the understanding that they will very likely have to work for a living." That mindset? Completely different from what people expect from royalty. And here's the part that really stands out. James was actually entitled to be called His Royal Highness Prince James. But they didn't use it. Instead, he was raised like a regular upper-middle-class kid, commuting to school and staying out of that intense royal spotlight. Even though he's currently 16th in line to the throne, he's managed to stay under the radar in a way almost no royal ever does. Still, there were moments where he stepped forward, and people who paid attention noticed something different about him. Back in 2022, during the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II at Westminster Hall, James stood alongside older royals in a vigil beside his grandmother's coffin. And remember, he was only 14 at the time. That moment? It wasn't loud, but it spoke volumes. He showed calm, composure, and maturity that caught quiet respect from those watching closely. Sophie even admitted she questioned whether he should take part because of his age, but he insisted, and that decision mattered. It showed he wasn't just there, he wanted to step into responsibility. Fast forward to now, and everything is starting to connect. What we're seeing in 2026 isn't random at all. It's the result of years of quiet preparation. James didn't suddenly appear out of nowhere. He's been building toward this moment behind the scenes the whole time. And then came the moment. Easter Sunday, April 5, 2026, back at St. George's Chapel, and suddenly everyone's paying attention. James, now stepping more confidently into public view, was seen casually talking with Catherine, Princess of Wales, before the service. That interaction alone had people talking, because it didn't look staged. It looked natural, like he belonged there. And here's what made it even more interesting. He showed up without his usual support system. His mother stayed home feeling unwell, and his sister was away in Scotland focusing on her studies. That meant James walked into that moment solo and handled it like it was nothing. No hesitation, no awkwardness, just confidence. For someone who usually skips events to focus on school, this appearance is different. It felt intentional. And now people are starting to ask real questions. Is this just a one-time appearance, or is something bigger being set in motion? Because when someone goes from invisible to unforgettable overnight, that's never just a coincidence. What really had people talking wasn't just the appearance, it was that moment with Catherine, Princess of Wales. And no, this wasn't some quick hello and move on type interaction. observers were quick to notice something different. They looked relaxed, comfortable, almost like this connection had been building behind the scenes for a while. When the future queen takes time to genuinely engage with a younger royal like that, it's never random. It means something deeper is going on. The last time people really spotted James Mountbatten Windsor was during the Christmas Day service at St. Mary Magdalene Church, surrounded by family like Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. But Easter 2026? That was a completely different vibe. This time, he wasn't just part of the background. He was right there in the middle of it all. Standing near Prince William and Catherine, he looked calm, confident, and like he belonged in that inner circle. And here's where things get interesting. The roles quietly shifted. Instead of staying tucked beside his mother and sister, James was positioned alongside his father, Prince Edward, while Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, and Lady Louise Windsor weren't even present. That subtle change? In royal terms, it speaks loud, because in that world, positioning is everything. Who stands where? Who walks with who? It's all carefully watched and interpreted. And in that moment, James wasn't just attending. He was being placed exactly where the future of the monarchy was shaping up. Online, it exploded instantly. Clips of his interaction with Catherine spread everywhere, and suddenly the phrase, "hidden royal," was trending. People who barely knew his name days before were now deep diving into who he is and why he's suddenly showing up like this. And then the comparison started, especially with Prince Harry. Now this is where the conversation gets real. James Alexander's rise is happening at the exact same time there's been a noticeable gap left behind by Harry. Back in 1984, Harry was third in line to the throne, but over time, that shifted as Prince William started his own family. Then came 2020, when Harry stepped away from royal duties. That decision didn't just shake headlines. It left a space inside the monarchy that hasn't fully been filled since. Because no matter what people say, Harry brought energy, attention, and a certain connection with the public that made the royal family feel more relatable. When he stepped back, William didn't just lose a brother. He lost a partner in public life. And things only got more complicated. By late 2025, there were reports suggesting Harry and Meghan Markle were thinking about building something separate, a kind of independent presence that didn't exactly align with the traditional royal structure. Instead of returning to support the system, it looked like they were creating something new, and that raised eyebrows. So the questions started getting louder behind palace doors. Who steps in now? And quietly, without announcements or headlines, one name kept coming up. James Alexander. His Easter appearance didn't just look like a family outing, it felt like a signal. Experts have even suggested that William may start leaning on younger royals like James to strengthen the future of the monarchy. Because the idea of a slimmed-down royal family, not everyone thinks that's a good move anymore. Writers like Richard Eden have pointed out that cutting things down too much could actually weaken the institution instead of protecting it. And that's where James fits in perfectly. He's young, steady, drama-free, and carries himself in a way that reflects stability. Royal biographer Robert Jobson even hinted that at a time when King Charles III and William need loyal support the most, someone has quietly stepped forward, and all signs point to James being that person. Now compare the paths. While Harry has spent recent years speaking out, doing interviews, writing books, and staying in the spotlight through controversy, James has taken the complete opposite route. No noise, no drama, just presence. And sometimes, just showing up at the right moment says more than anything else. While one path moved toward California and independence, the other stayed rooted in Windsor, focused, steady, and aligned with the crown. And that contrast? People are noticing it more than ever. This is exactly why many are saying this moment marks a shift. Not because of titles, not because of rank, but because of what the monarchy actually needs right now. And that brings us to something even bigger. Prince William is under more pressure than ever. 2026 isn't just another year, it's shaping up to be a turning point. With King Charles III continuing his duties while managing health concerns, William is stepping up in a major way. He's not just the heir anymore, he's becoming the face of the future. From public appearances to global representation, the weight is building. Even Debbie Frank suggested that 2026 marks a powerful shift for William's role, pointing to growing responsibility and visibility. And whether you believe in that or not, the reality is clear. More pressure means one thing. He needs people he can trust. And right now, James Alexander is proving he fits that role perfectly. At just 18, he's stepping forward at the exact moment it matters most. Not loud, not flashy, just reliable. And that Easter appearance? It wasn't random. It was a message. A quiet but powerful signal that he's ready. Ready to stand beside William. Ready to support the crown. And ready to be part of whatever comes next. When James Mountbatten Windsor stood beside Prince William at that chapel, it didn't feel like just another routine royal appearance. It felt like a shift happening right in front of everyone. You could see it in the way he carried himself, calm but confident, like someone who understands exactly where he belongs. This wasn't forced or awkward, it looked natural, and that's what made it stand out. He's not just being placed into the spotlight, he's choosing to step into it, and that decision alone says everything. That kind of presence matters more than people realize. Being part of the royal family isn't just about titles or lineage. It's about showing up when it counts, and right now, James is doing exactly that. This is the kind of steady energy Prince William has been needing, especially after everything that's changed over the past few years. There has even been quiet talk that Catherine, Princess of Wales, considered reaching out to Meghan Markle to ease tensions behind the scenes, with one insider claiming she believes reconciliation between William and Prince Harry could start if she and Meghan found some common ground. Still, while those possibilities remain uncertain, the reality is simple. William needs support now, not later, and James is stepping into that space without hesitation. What makes this even more interesting is the way James is choosing to move. After turning 18 in December 2025, he was finally given the option to fully embrace royal titles. But instead of chasing status, he made a decision that reveals a lot about his mindset. According to Robert Jobson, James appears to be following the same path as his sister, Lady Louise Windsor, who chose not to take on the HRH title when she turned 18. She had every right to become a princess, yet she stayed grounded as Lady Louise Windsor, focusing on a more private and balanced life, rather than stepping fully into royal duties. James is now doing the same thing, and that choice carries weight. Even though he has the legal right to be known as His Royal Highness Prince James, he has decided not to use it, continuing instead as Earl of Wessex. In today's monarchy, that kind of decision can be more powerful than accepting a title because it shows intention. By stepping away from formal labels, he places himself outside the traditional hierarchy and signals that respect should come from actions, not titles. He's not trying to demand recognition. He's building it quietly, and that approach feels completely different from what people usually expect. This mindset stands in clear contrast to how royal identity has sometimes been handled in recent years. There has been strong public focus on titles, branding, and personal positioning, especially when it comes to Prince Harry and the path he chose after stepping away from royal duties. James, however, is moving in the opposite direction, keeping things simple, controlled, and focused on presence rather than attention. He is not making noise, but people are starting to notice him anyway, and that kind of attention tends to carry more weight because it feels earned rather than created. Both James and Louise were raised without using HRH titles, and now that they have the option, they are continuing that approach by choice. This raises a bigger question about what the next generation of royals will look like, because their decisions suggest a shift away from traditional expectations. While it is still unclear whether James will pursue university or step directly into a more active royal role, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. He has the character, background, and timing to become a significant figure within the monarchy. And more importantly, Prince William seems to recognize that. Looking ahead, the idea of James becoming William's trusted ally is starting to feel more realistic. This doesn't mean a formal title or official position within the palace structure, but something far more meaningful. It means being someone who can stand beside William during important public moments, while also offering private support that goes beyond what staff or advisors can provide. In a system where pressure is constant and expectations are high, having someone within the family who understands both responsibility and reality is extremely valuable. Royal watchers have already begun suggesting that William may turn to younger royals like James to help strengthen the future of the monarchy, and this idea is gaining traction because it fits the current situation. The institution is evolving, and it needs figures who are not only connected to tradition, but also capable of representing a more grounded and relatable image. James brings exactly that combination, balancing awareness of royal responsibility with a calm, modern presence that does not feel forced or out of touch. At the same time, the contrast between different royal paths continues to shape public perception. In November 2025, Prince Harry published an article titled, "The Bond, the Banter, the Bravery: What It Means to be British," which, according to commentator Judy James, reflected a sense of nostalgia for Britain. That perspective highlights an interesting divide, because while Harry, now based in California, is looking back at what he left behind, James remains present within the royal structure, actively stepping forward instead of reflecting from a distance. This contrast emphasizes a generational shift that is becoming more visible as time goes on. As King Charles III continues to navigate an important period in 2026, discussions within royal circles are no longer centered on speculation alone. The question of who will fill the gap left behind has started to move toward real answers, and increasingly, attention keeps returning to James. His recent appearances suggest that his role is becoming clearer, even if it has not yet been formally defined. If James chooses to step further into royal duties, he has the potential to bring a fresh and steady presence to the monarchy at a time when it is needed most. He represents a younger generation that feels more relatable, less formal, and more aligned with how the public connects with modern figures. Standing alongside Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, as they move closer to their future roles, he could help shape a version of the monarchy that feels more stable and more grounded. The British monarchy is clearly at a turning point, facing challenges that require both continuity and change. With health concerns, shifting responsibilities, and the long-term impact of recent departures, the next phase, often referred to as the William era, will need to present a stronger sense of balance. In that context, James stands out not because he is demanding attention, but because attention is finding him naturally, and in the royal world, that often signals something significant. As everything continues to shift behind palace walls, one thing is becoming harder to ignore. James Mountbatten Windsor is no longer just a background figure, he's becoming part of the main picture. And what makes this even more powerful is how naturally it's happening. There's no loud announcements, no forced spotlight, no desperate push for attention. Instead, it's quiet moves, strong presence, and perfect timing. And that combination always hits differently. At the same time, Prince William is stepping deeper into responsibility, carrying more weight than ever before. The pressure is real, the expectations are growing, and every move is being watched closely. In moments like this, having someone steady, loyal, and drama-free nearby is not just helpful, it's necessary. And right now, James fits that role in a way that feels almost too perfect to ignore. What makes James stand out isn't just his position in the family, it's how he moves within it. He's not trying to compete, not trying to prove anything loudly, and definitely not chasing headlines. Instead, he's letting his actions speak, and that quiet confidence is starting to pull attention toward him whether people expected it or not. In a world where everything is usually loud and overexposed, that kind of silence becomes powerful. And then there's the bigger picture. The monarchy itself is entering a new phase, one that needs balance, stability, and a stronger connection with the public. With King Charles III navigating a challenging period and the future slowly shifting toward William's leadership, the people around him matter more than ever. This is where James doesn't just fit in, he stands out. Because while others stepped away, looked back, or created distance, James stayed close, stayed steady, and stayed ready. That difference is starting to shape how people see the future of the royal family, and it's happening faster than anyone expected. The real question now isn't whether James will step up, it's how far he's going to go once he fully does.